I met a Gypsy.
What about from more the mental side?
Yeah, so what is that? There's one that I read. I'm totally blanking on the name of it. But yeah, there was one mental book.
We can put it up on the screen now after the pod.
Yeah.
You send it to me.
Yeah, there was one book that I read like over and over again for my mental side. I think I started reading it in 2014 or whatever, because I was just in Supercross. I was just struggling with the mental side of it and how to control the nerves, how to blitz a set of whoops and triple in or whatever. And I feel like that book really opened up Pandora's box essentially to just like learning how to control the race day nerves, like coming down to like breathing patterns and positive affirmations on the track and just like really trying to get out of your own head essentially. Because those are things that aren't there during the week, but then for whatever reason on Saturday when there's 60,000 fans in the crowd, they pop up.
So that was a struggle for you in Supercross.
Mm-hmm.
So the riding of Supercross wasn't the hard part; it was actually getting there on the race day.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, Supercross, that's what's tough is it's just another level of pressure and the obstacles you're being forced to, essentially forced, because if you don't jump them, you're a 15th place guy versus 5th or winning.
Yeah.
Whereas outdoors, it's a little bit more, you can find your flow and you have 70 minutes essentially to prove yourself. Where in Supercross, like, bam, you have to get the whole shot and be on point right from lap 1. So, yeah, the nerves are at an all-time high, for sure. So it's something you have to just come to terms with and learn how to deal with it.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, I've just never really, just to say point blank, like, they're the thoughts that aren't there during the week. That is kind of like a light bulb in my head in a way, because it's like, yeah, that's pretty true. That's the gnarly side of competition, right? Is like you can train to do the thing, and you can be great at the thing. Like, so at start, Christian Gregg. Tuesday was as fast as Cooper Webb. Didn't dropped a second off him over 20 minutes and is getting lapped by him on the weekend. Same guy, same tracks, same bike, same riders.
Which is weird because like Christian's figured it out at one time or another. But that's also what's tricky about the sport is it's success can be so fleeting. You can have it figured out one year and then you change teams or bikes, or maybe you can't get your suspension figured out or whatever, and it can haunt you. It's tough. That's where it's amazing when you see guys like Cooper to win like 3 Supercross titles, and to overcome those trial and error, and those tribulations. It's impressive to figure that out.
Yeah, and I think, from all accounts, like he was in one of those holes at the start of this year.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And you look at what he did, and I think that there's obviously like an element of some guys went out of the championship for sure. But if you look at the speed that Chase was showing, like you're probably not going that much faster than Chase Sexton just on pure speed on a Supercross trip. You know what I mean? So it's not like the level came down a crazy amount. It was just a couple less dudes in the field,
Yeah, and that just goes back to like being a gamer, Like I always say, like Saturday pays the bills. It doesn't matter how good you are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like sure, you have to put your work in and you have to try, but like Saturday is what counts. You have 15 or 20 minutes on Saturday to make your mark, and that determines your paycheck for the next foreseeable future, and just being able to be there when the gate drops, like there's a lot of things that go into like getting off the grate good, navigating the first turn clean, getting through the first lap clean, but then also hitting your marks for frickin' 25 laps, with 60,000 fans screaming. And then also like that was one thing in my 450 Supercross rookie season, like just dude, like how beat up the Supercross tracks were compared to the 250 class. Like dude, Supercross is so much easier on a 250 than it is a 450 just because the tracks are so gnarly. The way they develop and the whoops, how cupped up they get. It's gnarly. So
and then you're dealing with the bike that has way more horsepower on a track that's way more beat up.
Yeah, and so going back to like trial and error. So the 450 year, I had like I basically detuned the bike as the season progressed. I started out with like a high comp piston and like ignition stuff, and like I kind of just kept stripping it away. And then halfway through the season, we came up with a heavy flywheel. And I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I literally went from like crashing like 2 or 3 times a weekend on Saturday Supercross to like we put this heavy flywheel in, and it just made the bike for me, like I was only 140 pounds, right? 5'4", so like 450 is a big bike for me, but that heavy flywheel made it so much easier to ride this bike, and I literally stopped crashing. Just that simple change there. So, and obviously I was kicking myself. I wish I would have found that out earlier, but so.
That's crazy that it made that big of a difference.
For me, it did.
What was the crashes that you were having? Was there a typical crash?
No, I was just like, dude, I'd get like whiskey tick. Like it's the bike was so fast, like I couldn't handle it. Like, yeah, sometimes it would just be out of control, and then like you throwing a little bit of arm pump into the equation or getting tight, and it's just like, dude, you're throwing a Hail Mary out there.
Not fun. Not cool. I was at Daytona when your brother did the 450, that first one, and he was like, 3 seconds faster in like the first practice or second practice. Like it was insane, and then just fucking yarded the thing for the rest of the night. We're like, well, 450s must be pretty hard to ride.
Yeah. I think he did he get second on the podium that night?
Did he? What was his like
at Daytona? Yeah, because Daytona 450, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he led most of that main, and then he almost won it, and then Eli got him. Yeah.
But he yarded in practice.
That was like his one-hit wonder. One-hit wonder
on Geico, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's insane. But they do a heavier flywheel for the Yamaha 450. That's like my bike at the moment. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should get it.
Yeah, I'm biased, but I love that thing.
Yeah, big fan of the heavier flywheel.
Yeah, I know maybe it's because I'm a little guy or whatever, but I like now that I'm back at home in Millville, we have local races at Spring Creek, and we have a series, and like I see these vet guys that are like riding these 450s, and I'm like, dude, this is too much power for the average person. They're gonna die out there.
Yeah, well, I've been a big Church of 350 guy, so
I have a 350. That's my retirement bike.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to that next. I want to stay on one thing. What you were saying about like Saturday night is when you get paid, and that's what matters. The other thing that was crazy at Star was Cole got dropped on Tuesday.
Really?
The Tuesday, like dropped. Mm-hmm. And I was there. It was like shocking to see, like Deegan was just like marching forward. Mm-hmm. And this is coming off 2 wins in a row.
Sure.
And I'm saying to the boys, I'm like, damn, like that's not. And they're like, no, this is how it is. And it was crazy to me to think, like, what would it take personally, like the conviction you must have to have those days through the week and still win on the weekends? Like, can you speak to what that must be like?
Well, I was going to say, so I can speak to this on a really personal level because I was that guy. Like, I was getting my teeth kicked in. Like, whether it was my brother during the week, whenever we were training together over the years, like, he was always faster than me. Literally, like, sometimes he'd lap me in a, 40-minute moto at the farm. Before it was, like, the Star compound, it was, the farm. And, yeah, he would, like, lap me in a 40-minute moto. And then fast forward to, like, my TLD years, like Shane McElrath. Dude, that guy would literally, I don't think I ever beat Shane in a practice moto during the week. In 2017, 2018, it was like he would just be blowing my doors off in a 235s at Eldon's on a Tuesday, and then he's like 10th on the weekend, and I'm on the podium every weekend, So I feel like on a really real level, I can relate to that. I think back to the personal conviction, like I just knew, like once you get a little taste of success and you know how you feel physically and how dialed you are in with the bike, you know that you can get it done on Saturday, and so then it kind of takes the pressure off during the week because you're putting in your time, but you don't necessarily like have to like win Tuesday, because you know that on Saturday you can get the job done.
And yeah, so it almost can become a blessing in a sense if you're the guy that has got results on the weekend, because so much of being an athlete, so much of just being a person is the story that you tell yourself about yourself, right? And then actually believing that story.
Yeah, For sure, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it kind of goes back to a little bit of the delusion, But
Yeah.
and even like another example would be so like Chase Sexton's first, I think it was his first Supercross season. Would it have been?
Was it 19?
2019?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, dude, we did almost every moto together in the off season that year.
Really?
At Sandbox, yeah. Like that was actually a really fun year because it was like AC, Chase, and myself, all 250s. Kenny was 450. He was kind of like the dad of the group, And it was fun because there was just like not much egos at that time, and yeah, Chase and I did all of our motos together. And like, dude, he would be lapping me in a main event moto on Tuesday at Sandbox, and then we showed up to Minneapolis, and like I think he did crash or tip over in the main, but I ended up beating him, and he was just like so pissed. But it was like that's where the experience and wisdom kind of prevailed in that moment.
Yeah, yeah. And so you would literally so let's go back to you getting lapped in like that's on paper demoralizing. But so you just had a level of conviction in yourself.
Yeah.
And you just knew that you would rise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that comes from having done it already, but I knew that on Saturday I could get the job done, which obviously for me, I'm not winning, but I could get the job done by being up there and competitive, and I think in Minneapolis that year I was like third until the last lap and Jay Coop punted me.
Yes.
And like the corner before the finish, and I was like, fuck, in front of the hometown fans.
Yeah.
And like Chase might have been fifth or whatever that night. But yeah, like just knowing that you can get it done on Saturday makes a big difference. And it's actually cool to see Davies is like that, It's actually kind of crazy to think that at 17 years of age, he already has that conviction and can chill during the week and then get it done on Saturday. That's scary.
That's kind of what I went away with, to be honest, because yeah, I was just like, man, and especially when you see the opposite was true for Christian. Obviously, very different points in their career and very different ages, and just everything's different. But like to be just as fast as the points leader, that's won a bunch of races through the year, and like literally he went on to win his third title. Like, is it almost better or worse, or is it just how you mentally deal with the situation? Because it's just that's two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah, that's interesting because maybe Coop has a championship in his mind and he's just kind of cruising during the week, putting his laps in and not putting a lot of pressure on. I don't know. It's hard to say. Another example I have is preseason, I think it was 2017. TLD, we were in California and we did all like Mitch Oldenburg, Shane McElrath, Jordan Smith. Like we kind of did all of our motos together when we were on TLD that off season. And Shane was like pretty good, but he wasn't like blowing us out of the water by any means. Like we were all pretty close lap time wise, and in a 15-minute moto, pretty close. And then Shane went out and won A1. It's the first time he won A1.
Yep.
And I swear to God, the next week he was 3 seconds a lap faster. Like, literally, I don't know what changed. I mean, obviously, mentally something changed. But, like, same track, same conditions, 2 to 3 seconds lap faster than everybody. And I'm like, wow, that was crazy.
Just found a level.
Mm-hmm.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.